With Netflix confirming the eagerly anticipated release date for the action sequel, The Old Guard 2 will finally be available this year. The streaming provider announced the sequel's July release date during January's Next on Netflix event. Although there isn't a trailer yet, a behind-the-scenes video was made public to pique interest. We will have known Andy and her group of immortal warriors for 5 years by the time The Old Guard 2 comes out. The sequel's late 2022 completion date has nothing to do with the film's quality. Netflix has been going through quite a changeover in recent years. Charlize Theron noted in July 2024, which caused a substantial delay in the release of the movie. Here is everything you need to know about The Old Guard 2 to celebrate the fact that the wait is almost over. The Old Guard 2 release date. When can we expect The Old Guard 2? On July 2nd, 2025, The Old Guard 2 will finally be available on Netflix, over 5 years after The Old Guard. Hopefully, there won't be any more delays because the sequel is ready to go, having been filmed in places like Italy and the UK between June and September 2022. Thankfully, The Old Guard 2 seems to be worth the wait. For us, it's a very significant movie. If we could make it spectacular, that's all I wanted to accomplish. In July 2024, Charlize Theron declared, "I truly adore this film, and after the sequel comes out, we might even get a third film." In May 2023, producer Mark Evans told Variety, "There's an ending that kind of demands a number 3, which makes me very happy," but he did not go so far as to say that it was truly happening. The Old Guard 2 cast. Who's coming back for The Old Guard 2? As Harry Melling's character Merrick tragically figured out what happens when you mess with Andy's squad, there was just one significant casualty in the first film. Charlize Theron as Andy, Kiki Lane as Niall, Matthias Skonartz as Booker, Marwan Kenzari as Joe, and Luca Marinelli as Nikki are all returning for the follow-up. Copley, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, has now realized his mistakes, and at the conclusion of the first film, is entrusted with keeping the team hidden from anyone who might harm them, such as Merrick. Although Ejiofor's return has been announced, it's unknown if he will play a significant part in the follow-up or only appear as an M-like character. As the returning Quynh, Veronica Ngo appears to be playing a significant role in the sequel. However, it's unclear if she will be the team's ally or enemy at this point. Quynn's Japanese character in the comics is called No Riko. After Veronica Ngo was cast, it was decided to modify it, although this does not imply that a second character named No Riko will appear in the follow-up. When she was cast, Veronica declared, "I'm Vietnamese, not Japanese. Can we accommodate that?" Director Gina Print asked me, and I replied, "Certainly," Greg Rucka stated. Noriko transforms into Quynh, who is now Vietnamese. It was really just a matter of wanting to appreciate and honor that. We might also see more of Michael Ward as Lee Khan, a fallen member of the Old Guard. Is there more to his story? We witnessed his death in flashbacks during Andy and Quynh time together. Since he's the only immortal we've known of to pass away, it might be a topic covered as Andy and Quynh connection develops. Uma Thurman and Henry Golding have been announced as 2 new faces for the sequel. We don't yet know who they will be playing against, or if they will be Andy and her team's buddy or enemy, similar to Quynh. Behind the scenes, Gina Prince By the Wood continued as producer and was replaced as director by Victoria Mahoney. However, the main cast returned for another thrilling adventure in front of the camera. Greg Rucka, the author of the comic book that served as the inspiration for the film, came back to write the follow-up, The Old Guard ending. How does it set up The Old Guard 2? The credits scene is the most important part of the finale, as we've discussed in more depth here. 6 months after his expulsion from the team for his treachery, we reunite with Booker in Paris. None other than Quynh, who has somehow escaped from the ocean floor, greets him as he enters his home. She tells him, "It's nice to finally meet you," but that's all we get out of Quynh's comeback. Whether she wants to exact revenge or simply be with Andy again will only be revealed in the sequel. Quynh's homecoming also marks the beginning of Force Multiplied, Rucka's second Old Guard comic book. To give you a hint of what to expect, Quynh says in the comic book sequel that she believes they were created immortal to harm humanity rather than to save it. She also wants Andy to be her lover once more and to accompany her on her journey. While you wait for the possible sequel, you can read the comic if you want to know all the answers and what happens next. The fact that Andy is no longer technically immortal is the other significant revelation that will affect the sequel. When a stab wound from a previous altercation in church doesn't heal, she realizes that every conflict could potentially be her last. Andy thinks that this significant shift is the result of Niall's presence. I believe you appeared when my immortality was taken away, so that I might experience it, in order for me to recall. Do not forget what it was like to feel invincible. Amazing, she said. You reminded me that there are still people worth fighting for. Although it's one of the most significant departures from the comic book it's based on, it's an essential one since it creates a tension that an Immortal Army movie might not have had. That's all we currently know about the sequel's plot, but we can also anticipate that Theron's Andy will get a bold new hairstyle. We needed something that felt like time had passed, so for that, you go with the old mullet, Thurman said. The Old Guard 2 trailer. Any footage from The Old Guard 2 yet? Although Netflix has yet to release a sequel, we may finally know when The Old Guard 2 will be available. You can view the short behind-the-scenes video that was released along with the release date while you wait for that. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more.